like, I'm not going to go out my way to slag it off either, but I'm going to say this I wouldn't repurchase. It hasn't worked for me at all. So if it has worked for you, let me know.
Yeah. It's the wording though. You're intelligent. You use the right wording. But other ones would go awful.
The influencing, is all about delivery. All about delivery. Yeah.
100%.
It's all about it's being a PR, using the PR mind and going, okay, I don't want to burn bridges, but I want to let you know.
Yeah. Shit sandwich.
100%.
Yeah. Nice little shit sandwich.
Hey, I'm Jay Woodard. I am a creative director, photographer and videographer of the Ed32 agency based in the south of Ireland in Cork.
Hi, I'm Judie Russell. I'm a video coach and founder of the Vid Academy.
Hi, I'm Jen Bryan and I'm the co-founder and chief marketing officer of a digital marketing agency called Velocity Growth.
Hi, I'm Sian Horn. I'm a business mentor and coach. I'm also the founder of the national network for women in business called The Club. And I also am the ambassador for Champion Green. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Unbranded. Good morning, Jen, Judie, Jay. How are we?
Fabulous.
They're all waving at me. Fantastic. So today we wanted to follow on a little bit. Last week we were speaking about how to monetize a little bit. We were speaking about a couple of us monetizing our social and the use, I suppose, of influencer marketing. Because I think it's really important, especially for a lot of the businesses that I work for, slightly smaller businesses. And sometimes they put off because actually they don't really understand how it works or what the benefit is to them. So I think we want to look at it at two sides today. Obviously the benefit to the business, but then how you can benefit sort of your own platform and what the best way is to do it. So I suppose I'm going to start with you, Jay, if that's okay. What do you love about influencer marketing from the potential of your business? And then obviously I suppose how easy it would be for you to monetize in a certain way on your business.
So I built an entire business off influencer marketing. The donut shop, I keep hanging on this episode, I always refer back to, but it's the one thing I properly built apart from the agency. But the entire thing was fully built on influencers, and it was literally just DMs. Hey guys, come in for a free box of donuts. And then we do campaign stuff with them if they worked, and we get them in for days and they'd be serving and they'd do their announcements. Oh, I'm in Huckleberries for 4 hours today serving. Come meet me and get photos. It was just, it's all events and PR and this kind of stuff. But I think if it's done right, it's so amazing for a business. But then there's do the pros outweigh the cons? I don't know, because we were talking before the podcast started about how these things take awful turns and this kind of stuff where you see these influencers have 500,000-600,000 people or 100,000 people. It's kind of just it goes mediocre. The brand won't get much from it. They'll get posts, this kind of stuff. Where I think the king at the moment is, or the king or queen I should say, is the micro influencers. I think it's the 2,000 to 15, 20,000 and a very push. I think they're the most engaged audiences. I think they're the people who actually listen to these people. I think once it goes past, when you see a big number, it just, for some reason, people's minds just flick off and go, they're not real, or whatever the way that is in my mind. Oh yeah, cool. They're almost too big. And I know this is an ad. Where if they're micro, I feel like it's, they actually did like the product. Oh, I should try that out myself. I'll use their code, this kind of stuff. And then for me as an influencer, yeah, happily I'd take product, but no, I don't know what I would, how I would do it would be camera gear or video gear, or I've done some partnerships with softwares where I've tested their gear out, did review videos, this kind of stuff. That's how I would look at monetizing my personal brand and that kind of stuff. Or I tried a membership thing. I didn't give it everything I could have. You guys were involved in it. I don't know, would I go down that route again? Maybe. I don't like the idea of lessons or courses myself personally doing it. So monetizing would be that kind of stuff, or affiliate marketing, would be, if it's how I would look at it.
Yeah. And have you done much recently, I suppose, with the affiliate? I suppose actually you were speaking about a company, weren't you? And then they contacted you.
Yeah. So yeah, audio.com. I did a TikTok because I found their software class. I was like, Jesus, this is great. What it does is you can copy a link from Spotify, YouTube, whatever it is, and paste it into their website, and it gives you creative licensing music that sounds very similar to the music. Obviously you want to do a campaign, but you can't use Nicki Minaj. what you do is you copy paste the song that you like from Nicki Minaj from either YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, paste it into their linkmatch.ai or whatever it is it's called, linkmatch AI on their website, and it gives you a similar song so you can use that for your campaign. I thought that was class. I did a TikTok. They saw it. They reached out, said, we love it. We love what you're doing. Here's a €250 membership for the year. Please keep making content for us. And they just touch based me actually this morning. I got an email off Misha saying, hey, just updates, any projects in the little line you want to work on, this kind of stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great way to deal with people. Like, I'm a micro influencer. They see that I'm talking about them off the cuff. I organically found them, and then they found me. I think that's a great start to a company for if someone's talking about your product and you like them and you like the audience, hop into the comments, see what people are saying, among different posts, see if there's a bit of community there, and then attack with everything you can with them. Like,
yeah, I know we're both great believers in the giving piece. So yeah, I always believe create the content before they ask for the content. I think that's a really good way. Judie, how about yourself? Where do you think this works well for businesses and for potentially yourself?
Well, I'm at the bottom of the barrel of micro-influencer with just over 2,000 Instagram followers. So I'm more here to learn today. But I have never made a video because someone gave me something unless I really liked it. And, I found this camo software that I use my phone as my webcam years ago. And I made a video about them. And same as you, Jay, then they found me, got in touch with me. And they, especially Eden, she works on their team. Like the amount that she does, like there's no money, but they gave me a discount code and stuff like that to give to other people. And I think I got camo for free. But every time I post on LinkedIn, Eden from Camo is the first person to share my stories. They're creating a newsletter at the moment and they're adding some of my content into the newsletter and stuff. So while there's no monetary transaction, I consider Camo one of like my favorite kind of people to talk about, and especially because their software is really, really good. Like I'd really struggle if it was a shit software. And then I was like, oh no, now we've got a relationship. So like they're keeping up their end of the deal by creating an amazing software. I'm keeping up my end by, trying to speak about them positively. And I like that. But I'm very interested in the money side of it. And Jen, you spoke about passion fruit in one episode, FROTT, not FRUIT. Just had a look at that there, had a look at your page. And because I was wondering, I was like, outside of DMing someone and saying, will you create a video for me? How do you actually organize this? So that passion fruit website is really cool where you can find influencers and I loved it. I thought it was really interesting. All your stats are up there and, you can really dig in. So yeah, I'm here to learn, guys.
It takes me nicely onto you, Jane.
I don't know. It depends. Like, I actually wholeheartedly agree with you, Jay, on the micro influencer side of things. My account, like I'm still in the learning phase myself of trying to figure out how I best align with brands, because the growth has been so quick on my account that I feel like I actually don't have enough touch points built up with my audience yet that they're super high engaged. Like there's certainly a large cohort of them that are, but 25 to 30,000 of those people are only in the last 4 to 5 weeks. And that's only like maybe they may have seen 6 pieces of content maybe. And at that, they've probably only seen 2 or 3 seconds. So I think my account will start getting more, not more engagement, but more qualified engagement as time goes on over the next 2 or 3 months. But that being said, I mean, there is a type of content that's going to align very well. I mean, like if you're an AI tool that will help marketers, my account is a perfect fit. But I get people reaching out to me who are like that I own a shop down the road from you. Can you? And I'm just like, dude, 30% of my office or 30% of my followers are in the US. The rest, there's loads of them I mean, I think less than 3% of my audience is Irish. So it's like, there's absolutely no point. Like, I think, no one's going to find this a value value. That being said, my account is like in full swing of monetization now. I did turn off the subscription feature. So I had it on, as in within Instagram itself, where you can turn on that subscriber feature. I had that on had a handful of subscribers. I think it was making a few $100s a month. I just made a call on it. I think it was like last Thursday or Friday. I was like, I'm just pulling this because it's not making enough money for me to validate creating like really high level content. Now, I did actually do a batch of about 10 videos for the subscribers at the time, but I'm just going to roll those out now as regular videos over the next while. My newsletter subscription, I've actually pulled that as well because I'm in the background over here. I'm creating a whole new website with like a 3-part system that is going to monetize differently to monetizing on the platform. So you'll see that change over the next couple of months where that's going. But it is me making a conscious decision now to say, I'm not monetizing stupidly on Instagram or my email newsletter. That was probably a mistake. I'm pulling those out. All of the top of funnel is completely free and then it'll taper downwards. So I've started to re-strategize around it, but you'll see where that goes.
But as you said, Jen, like you're new to this, like your growth has been in the last 6 months massively. You saw the idea and people said to you, are you monetizing? How are you going to monetize? And you thought, well, newsletter and Instagram. So like that would be my first initial reaction would be subscription based and try and get, like, you didn't do anything wrong there. So I think you're doing the right call, but like, it was a smart.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think no matter what, you're going to dip your toe in all of the different monetization strategies. The only one I am going to keep is the sponsored posts because bitches got to eat.
Well, I was thinking about a friend subscription the other day. Like I was like, if people are paying for Netflix, like they should be able to pay $10 a month for my, hanging out with me or you guys. So, your best friends pay a subscription and they get instantly WhatsApp back.
Did you see the new thing on Instagram though, with the flip side?
No.
Yeah. So they're rolling out this feature at the moment. I'm actually keeping an eye on it. It's actually find I have an American phone and it updates Instagram quicker for me. But the flip side on Instagram now is where, like, say for an account like mine, I can select everyone who kind of like actually knows me in my real life, like you guys, my friends and family, and create like a little bubble. And it's just called the flip side. So it's like the close friends feature, but not close friends. It's like an alternate Instagram profile that only certain people can see. But you're not logging into 2 different accounts. Do you know that kind of, should I have a personal or... Now it's like, you could just use the one account to work away, but you can have the flip side. That's what they're calling it, which I think is a good name.
I also saw something Instagram are doing and I don't like it at all. I don't know if you saw it. They're testing out where they're just showing you random people's stories to see in your area. Like, so like, how like Snapchat just shows you like stories of people in your area.
Yeah, I don't
want
like
any
that.
of that. I don't want any of that.
No.
Like, no thanks.
It's weird. It feels intrusive. Like you shouldn't be there.
But don't show my shit to someone else either.
Yeah. I've spent most of January muting people because that's what I do in January. Because if anybody makes me feel uncomfortable or I don't feel, I'm comparing myself or whatever, I just have to mute because it's just not good for your health. So I don't want to be muting people I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's too much. But I couldn't agree more with all of you. I think for me, obviously, as a business person, I have used influencer marketing all the time. And I think I made all those mistakes actually of grabbing big numbers, thinking big numbers mean more reach, et cetera, et cetera. 9 years ago. Ever since then, we've always worked with small numbers, very local, because it's a local business. And for myself, on the flip side of that, working with businesses as an influencer, that's taken me time to work that out as well, because I think we were saying last week, like what you charge and stuff like that, it's really difficult because it's quite random. Sometimes when I'm getting quotes from other people for other businesses, I'm like, I just don't get this. However, you do have to take into consideration the time that it takes. So for instance, for me, I did a campaign for Tesco's this week, and lots of people thought I worked with Tesco's for ages, but I actually wasn't. They approached me because I was creating for them. So I've worked with them a couple of times since. So it's well worth giving is the first one.
Well done.
That went, huh?
Well done. That's a huge contract.
And they're a great company to work with. And where it's lovely is I've always loved them. I am a Tesco shopper and always have been. I'm extremely loyal to them. So, but yeah, it's gone out. It's been out a couple of days, 173,000 it's hit. 300, nearly 400 likes, 57 comments. And that's what they're looking for. And that's why they're working with a smaller numbered person, is my engagement is very good. There's somebody that went out the same day as me. She has got 120 times more followers than me. She's got no comments because people are just watching that of her all the time. So they're like, oh, I know something else is coming tomorrow, and it stays the same. And I think you've got to be careful of who you work with. Like you, Jude, I only work with people that I really do love. And there's certainly times that I've started doing something, a project, and then I'm like, actually, this doesn't align at all. And actually, I had a bit of an issue recently. So I, the ambassador for Lululemon in Cork, and have been for 18 months, adore the product, love their ethos, love their everything they stand for. But their original CEO, the guy that started up Lululemon, came out with a few choice words in an interview. Now, he hasn't worked with Lululemon for over a decade. However, obviously, he was talking about Lululemon, why he started it. Basically said that fat women shouldn't wear leggings. Oh, well, never mind. I'm wearing them. And so I got a load of texts from my followers saying, I'm really surprised you're aligned with this brand. And I had to then dig in and send them all the information that I had. I contacted Lulu as well. Actually, they emailed us very quickly and said, look, this has come out. This isn't where we sit. This is not where we stand. We haven't had any contact with this person for over a decade. But I had to send all of that information to my followers because it was important that they understood that that's not what I'm aligned with. I mean, obviously I'm not. I'm a size 20 woman wearing Lululemon and very proud to do so. So you have to be really conscious and careful and be on that as well. Because that could have affected and hurt my brand.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think always align with the people. And when it comes to like memberships and subscriptions, this is one thing I've learned. Obviously, I am the founder of the club, which is a network for women. It started as Sean Horn's club. It is now an entity of itself, a non-for-profit, and there's a board gone in place that's going to run it. I will always be the founder. What has it taught me in the last 3 years? When people give you money, they own you. And I can't tell you how stressful that is. Because people have an expectation for you to always be there for them. And the more people you subscribe, the more that obviously escalates, but no one's there for you. So you have to always be the leader. And that is a lot of pressure. Would I do it again? No. Am I glad I did it? 100%. It's a magical place and I'm so proud of it. And I'm also proud to step back from it, in a certain respect. But delighted to be part of it. But yeah, subscription and membership, it's really difficult. And I see people selling this shit all the time. And how easy it is. It's a subsidiary income. It just sits on the side of what you do anyway. It's so quick and easy. It's not quick and easy. It's really bloody hard work. Don't do it unless you're ready to be owned, because you will be owned by that.
Yeah. This whole idea of like passive income, like you see these, 6 passive income ideas for you to start. Get a vending machine. You're like, shut the fuck up. Like, get a vending machine. Like, what are you talking about? You have all that kind of influences, that kind of shit. That I guess leads in nicely into pissing me off.
Yeah. Okay. What pisses you off, Jay?
Well, no, you know what I mean? Like, you see these kind of people who are just building shallow profiles, that kind of generic shit. Like, there's nothing there behind it. There's nothing of substance. You're either saying it to get a response and get commenting and engagement, or you're either just an idiot and think you're growing this business. And like I saw one guy, and he's very well renowned. I can't remember his name. And he's like, you want to make $2 million this year? No problem. Buy a house for 8 million instead of 10 million. Like, what the fuck is he? What is even that? Like that kind of shit pisses me off. And these guys are seen as like influencers or financial gurus, and you see all these real estate people and these, like, no offense, Shan, but boomers saying like you should buy 30 houses before you're 27. You're like, what are you talking about? Like, they're just utter garbage. And I think when let's not forget, influencer marketing it's not 10 years old. Like, it's not the official social media influencer marketing. Obviously there's always been influencer marketing, the scenario of Dean Martin smoking a Marlboro, like that idea. But like, the idea of social media influencers is kind of relatively still very new, even to the point where, like, when I was testing it and playing with it way back when, what must have been 2016, 2017. A lot of people hated it. A lot of people didn't like the ideas of influencers. And then you got that awful spin on it where like, oh, I'll do a free review if you let me stay in your hotels. And people were like, absolutely not, pay for it. Like, so what I hate about influencer marketing is when people don't understand what it actually is and become an influencer just to become an influencer. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh yeah, I want to be someone. I can't be famous because I have no talent. So I'll just go on Instagram and give out about stuff or comment on stuff. And like I saw one on TikTok. Oh geez, I don't want to give a press or whatever her name is, but fucking Vegan Knox was her name. And she was in this local coffee shop. She's a few thousand followers. And they said, look, we don't want you filming here. People are eating their breakfast. They don't want to be filmed while they're eating stuff. And she made 40 TikToks over the space of like 24 to 48 hours. And now she's taking a civil suit against them for, what's the word? Because she says, because I'm an attractive young woman, discrimination. They don't want attractive young women in their filming. Like this whole shit. And you know what? It will go to court in America, which is outstandingly bad. Like, but this kind of shit, like this entitlement of it all, it's like, shut up and sit down. Like,
yeah, I think we were talking about pricing earlier. Like if I look at that Tesco thing, people will just see me trying on some clothes and getting paid for it. But it took me 3 trips to Tesco's because I wasn't quite sure on my storyboard. I didn't know what style was best to do. So I was kind of looking at what other people were advertising that week so that I didn't do a complete duplicate of something. First time I went, I was like, no, these don't look well enough on me. The second, so it was like 3 trips to Tesco, 3 try on, just to get it right and actually have the right things on that. So it's not just, you're not just sticking clothes on and throwing it out. There is some time that goes behind it. So I always work it out. Look, that's what I earn an hour as a business consultant. That's what I charge for an hour to do this. So really compared to the other ones, I'm very cheap. My friends that work in that area are always like, put your pricing up. And I'm like, well, no, that's how many hours it's going to take me. I'm happy with that. Do you know what I mean?
What I do is like the hours in plus the average CPM of the industry. So CPM counts for cost per thousand. So I'll take the average view count of a video and I'll divide it to 1,000 to get like how many CPMs I have. And then like a decent benchmark, depending on the industry, is kind of like between $10 and $20 per thousand. So I'll do time in plus the CPM.
I'm just working that out now on my calculator.
Yeah.
So $20 to $30. So like 20.
No,
20
like
euro.
10 to 20. Yeah, we'll say about €15, give or take.
I always say €15 too. Yeah, I always say about €15.
Yeah. Because like when I run paid ads against it for the same audience size, that's roughly what you're looking at. Now that being said, if you were working with a bank or a financial institute, their CPMs are much, much higher. And it depends on the competitiveness in the space. If you ever pop me a text and just say, hey, I'm planning on working with this brand, I can actually just text you back and be like, Google estimates this to be their rough CPM.
Wow.
I just worked that out and I should be charging more.
Yes, you should.
I should be charging more. But yeah, no, that's really interesting. So yeah, I completely agree with you actually, Jay. I hate all this sort of just throwing things out, making things look easy. Nothing's easy in life. You have to work, unfortunately we do have to work for stuff. And I think that needs to be taken it. But that's with every job in the world. Unless you understand it's like videographers, people putting things out. So people are like, oh, would you just pop that up for me, Sean? And I'm like, you can't just pop something up. It takes time. Because I have a great understanding of it. I know when I'm paying for somebody else to do something, I know what to expect. But what about you?
Yeah, I have one for you before you do that. I got a call last week. This person was referred to me, this kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. He's looking for a studio space, a quick video shoot and a quick photos. I was like, yeah, no problem. So you're kind of looking at half a day. I was like, what kind of budget do you have? And they're like, oh, about 150 to €200. Jeez, and I was like, oh, sorry. I was like, sorry, excuse, I was so thrown back by it. I was like, oh, sorry, I don't understand what you mean. And they're like, oh yeah, about €200. And I have a line for these kind of things. And a lot of projects, if for me, I have a minimum level engagement of €1,500 per project. And that's it. the project has to have that amount of budget for me to start working on. It obviously all depends, it varies, but this one, I just gave him that line and said, look, unfortunately, minimum level of engagement. And he said, what? All I want is like a 5 or 10 minute video and like 5 or 6 photographs. I'm like, fuck you, like, do you know what I mean? You have no, and a studio rental that you have to rent half a day. You have my time, edit it, like 200 quid. Like, who do you think? Like, and I was like, look, man, I was like, best of luck with everything, bud. And I was like, I don't, if I came off like a prick, I don't care. Like, fuck you. Like,
but I just always say to people like that, I always say, look, what I would suggest, that I can't help you, but what I can do is send you in the right direction. So I would get onto MTU, speak to one of the teachers at MTU. They might have someone that wants to build their portfolio, and then do it that way, because you won't find somebody to do that for you.
You're a better person than me, Shan.
Huh?
You're a better person than me. I just reacted as like, absolutely not.
Well, it's hard, isn't it? It's a fine line. It's a fine line between someone being silly and not understanding what you do, and actually insulting you.
Yeah, it was more like a, what do you mean? Like 200 is more than enough kind of attitude. And I was like, that's what kind of got me. That's what ticked me like. So
yeah, no, it's really, it is hard. It is hard. I know you get these calls too, Jude.
Are you looking to elevate your marketing and social media? Our podcast is proudly sponsored by Azure Communications, who have the perfect solution for all of your marketing needs.
Whether you need digital marketing, content creation, print, design, or direct mail, they have the skills and expertise to help you improve your brand awareness and drive business growth.
Get in touch with them today for a free social media audit, or to find out more at www.azurecom.ie.
That's AZURECOMM.ie.
Like, do you know what? I loved what you talked about, Shan, there. Like, you talked about going to Tesco 3 times and picking out those jumpers. So that's the pre-production stage. And then you also had to kind of test how you do that multiple times, the walking towards camera and the different transitions. Then you have to set it up on a tripod, make sure that the lighting is good. Then you have to go into the edit and pick good music and make sure that the transitions work together. Then you have to upload, add captions and description. Like, there's a whole huge amount of work. And, you know, I think like Jay and I have been made a tiny bit redundant in the sense that, like, we're going through a phase of people not being able to create video without a professional videographer to anyone being able to create a video. And I think what we're going to see, and I know you're going to talk about this next, Shan, but like, the people actually preferred the bad sound, handheld, speaking to camera stuff because of the authenticity that came with it. But now everyone's kind of upskilling quite quickly and their content is becoming better. They're still remaining authentic. So now I think Jay and I's videography worlds are going to kind of open back up again, where they can kind of go, still want it to be authentic, but I want it to be super professional. So I'm very interested to see where that lands us.
And what pisses you off that you see? What annoys you that you'd like to see changes in?
I think this is for all of us. I think this is anyone listening, is when someone is so clearly advertising something that is nothing to do with them and you know that they don't like it. And you can just tell straight away and you're like, no, oh my God, get it away. Delighted for them to be making a bit of extra cash. But like, it's so off that like your gut tells you before you even hear them speak, kind of thing. And that gets me.
Yeah. What about you, Jen? What gets to you?
There's 2 sides of the coin for me, I guess. I agree with everything you've said. I mean, like, there's so much stuff out there. I hate everything in tech bro subscription land, drives me up the fucking wall. I don't mind, but like, it's a real thing that has spun down from investors, I find, because like any investors that we've, like, a lot of investors that we've worked with have been adamant on not investing unless there's a subscription in place, because they want to invest in something that has compounding month over month revenue, even to the point where I have seen some subscriptions with a phenomenal business idea, really deep, like, market penetration. They're doing really, really good work, and their investors are still pissed off that they have an annual subscription, because there's no sense of churn until the year later and you get your lifetime value and calculations all out of it. And it makes a lot of sense from the investor world. And that has trickled down across the ecosystem of like, gotta have MRR, bro, or else you're screwed kind of like conversation, when actually monthly recurring revenue is probably the most difficult one to upkeep, because you don't just have to get more customers in than what you already have. you also have to constantly grow past the sliding gap of churn. So like the average person will only keep up a subscription 3 to 6 months. So it's, unless you're like fucking Netflix or Spotify or something, you know, something really deep. So like, Shan, let's say the 3 of you join my subscription. Jay, okay, now you're leaving next month. You're not finding the value. You just want to spend your money elsewhere. Now I only have 2, but I actually have to get 2 more subscriptions to grow, not 1 subscription. Otherwise I'm not growing. So you're constantly chasing. And I think people don't realize that there is that chase constantly in the subscription world. And I just feel like it's what people are talking about all the time. But then on the flip side, I get kind of pissed off as well from the perspective of like the sheer volume of messages that I get, especially after I post something promotional. I can't even go through them anymore.
In what sense, Jen, is it someone pissing you off, or is it someone just asking about the product, or what is it? Is it just abuse?
A blend. So like, I'm talking about the abuse more so than anything, like, which is probably accounts for about 30% of it. But like everything else is like loads of way more people message nice things, ask questions. Where can I find the link? I would say 30% is abuse. Another 30% is people who just haven't clicked. As in, like I've come across people. I'm like, did you see the caption though? It's in the caption. They're like, what's a caption? And I'm like, yeah, there's actually a huge gap. People just see videos. They don't even know where to find the comments sometimes. That really shocked me actually. So it's like 30% of people are probably trying to figure out what to do. Like, oh, everyone's commenting to get a link. Where do I comment? It's actually very basic questions. Another 30% of people who are just like, you dumb bitch. And then there's another, like the rest of them are just like, hey, I really love that. Could you tell me more? How did you use it in your business? I'm doing X, Y, and Z, like actual conversation. But because of the sheer volume, it's very difficult for me to go through each of those because I have to open everything I have to find the good and the bad, if that makes sense. So I have to go through a sheer volume. Like since last week, I think I've probably gone through maybe 10 or 11,000 messages.
Do you think though, Jen, because actually I had this conversation with somebody last week. I said, like, I've been very lucky. I've only ever had literally one mean text, mean DM in all the time that I've been doing stuff. I know I'm small numbers, but they're engaged numbers. And I was like, I do find it really weird. And actually my friend said, but actually, Sean, 50% of your platform is about other people. You give promotion to other businesses so much. I don't think anybody would ever begrudge you promoting something.
Yeah, but I also think there's a blend of 2 things here. One is that you have a deeply local audience. Like, it's
Irish. Yeah, it's definitely
it's an Irish audience.
Yeah, it's an Irish audience.
But like, I have my audience. So little of it is actually Irish. So like the amount of even messages that I'll get, like, why are you talking like that? And it's just like, oh, I have an Irish accent. Or where are you from? I'm Irish. I just like, they don't even, some people don't even know where Ireland is.
Would you prefer if your audience wasn't so one way?
I actually don't, because not really, because do you know what? At the end of the day, the AI market and like everything that I'm actually interested in and talking about is so minute and small in Ireland anyway. I mean, it is to my benefit that the majority of that audience is probably, a mixture of stateside. It is also a virtue of the issue itself is also a virtue of TikTok being banned in many regions where they would go to seek out this content otherwise. So for example, in India, I think places around the Middle East, TikTok is banned there. They can't actually access it. So they do flood Instagram to seek out some AI content, which inevitably ends up with like an imbalance of growth from those regions, which is actually something I can't control. Like I've even had people message me, be like taking a screenshot of my followers and be like, here, some of these must be bought. And I'm like, it's actually not. It's just sheer volume from these regions that I can't control.
It's interesting. It's really interesting. But yeah, and it's unfortunate. And I wouldn't, no one wants to hear that anybody's dealing with that.
No, but I think, do you know what I wish Instagram would do is allow me to say, okay, because if I was spending time on paid ads, I can say, right, I want my ads to run in Ireland, the UK, the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all the English speaking regions will say. But when you post organically, I mean, even if you go into your own real insights, you'll see that you can't control where the video is being viewed at all. It's just a very global system that doesn't fare well for accounts that are in a kind of growth stage, because it becomes harder and harder for me to align with different brands and work in different scenarios, because I'm still, it's probably because I'm so early in it as well. I'm still trying to get that full grasp of who my audience is, where they are. Like, I get a lot of messages asking me why I'm not saying namaste at the end of my videos. I'm like, why, what? And then it's like, oh, okay, there's a sheer volume of people who would prefer that to happen as well. So it's just really interesting. You get a real mix of like questions, like, oh, I even get some questions. It's mad that your husband lets you do this.
Wah, wah, wah.
Like, oh, I'll get someone to tell you.
Oh, bless them.
Conversation.
Bless them.
I
Oh my
know.
God. No, it's mad. So yeah, I mean, I'm mind blown. Obviously, you're talking about something which is kind of out of my space. Do you know what I mean? So it's really hard to even get a grasp on it sometimes. But it's weird how they can create all these flip sides and subscriptions, and they haven't got yet to their biggest problem, which is abuse. Like, how are they not clever enough to get smarter? It's all about bringing people to you. What about the people you want to get rid of? I think they need to spend some time on it. Instagram.
Especially for like younger people, because like I have every time a bad, and this is a tip for anyone who has it actually, every time a bad word that you would prefer not to happen comes in on a comment or a message, you can add that to your hidden keywords. So actually this has gone a sliding scale down dramatically, because there's obvious keywords that I have a list of. There's probably about 40 to 45 words in there now. Some that I never even thought of. You know, when you see one, I'm just like, oh my God, I haven't used this word in years. Anyway, there's like, you end up being like, this is a great list if I ever need a rebuttal. But it's like that. You end up with a list that gets stronger and stronger over time. But like, that shouldn't be the case either, that you're like manually putting together your own hit list of words you don't want like berated at you.
Does everybody use that? Has everybody used that word block?
I know of it from YouTube, but I've never used it yet.
What's your top word? That, like, for me, I have a word that I'm so glad is in there, because every now and then you go in, you can see them all being blocked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go for what's yours?
Mine is naked. I got naked bums for ages, but they always used to put naked in different scenarios, and come see me naked and stuff like this. So,
oh yeah, like the spam.
Yeah, so I had to put it in like 5 different ways, but I just don't see them anymore, and it's like the pride of my life. It's like the joy. But yeah,
so that's the problem with that, is those bots are feeding off the hashtag. So if you like, they search the hashtags, you use a hashtag, they automatically post.
Yeah.
So like, that's where Instagram should start in this whole thing.
Yeah.
They should look at the hashtags
the word naked.
If it work or not. But no, they'll see like influencer, or they'll see like whatever fashion, and that's the tag, and that's what a bot will just automatically post.
They must have thought curvy girl wanted to be naked. I don't know. Well, actually, we're back to what you do for marketing: run down the street naked. But anyway, listen, let's move on quickly, because we are time sensitive today. Jay, teach me something.
Oh shit, I forgot about this one. Teach you something. Did I talk about pickups? I did talk about that last week, didn't I?
Pickups? Oh yes.
Did I talk about that last week?
You could tell us about what we just spoke about. Some people don't know how to set that up. I think it's amazing.
Oh yeah, so I thought about the last podcast. I obviously didn't. In your settings, go to your, if you have to be an iPhone user, you go to your daily screen time. The whole thing. A lot of people have that off. They don't like it.
Yeah.
Keep it on. Then if you have it on for a few days, whatever it is, you can then see activity. I think it's all web and app activity. Click that and scroll down, and it will actually tell you how many times you picked up your phone that day. I think it's good to know. I think it's handy to know.
The important thing is the pick up, isn't it?
Because I think it's just these days, it's like a automatic, oh, I better check my phone. And what it is, it then tells you the number of the app that you went to immediately after you picked up your phone. So then you can look at what was the reason I picked up my phone. Like, let's see now, pure example would be probably fucking Instagram this weekend. Where is it now? As I said, I've turned off all my notifications, like WhatsApp, it's all gone, all that kind of stuff. Where is it? Week. And then I go to I just can't. I can't handle it anymore. I turned it off for the longest time, and I turned it back on recently because I was doing something, and I was like, I better have notifications on for WhatsApp because people are texting me or whatever. And it actually kind of started getting to me. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm not liking this at all. Like
I noticed I've got to get a watch because I haven't had a watch for a few months, and I'm constantly checking the time.
Yeah.
And then I go into the phone.
Yeah, I don't have a watch for that reason. For the vibrates, this kind of stuff, I don't like it. So today, this morning alone, I've picked up my phone 19 times. 10 times was for Instagram. I went straight to Instagram. 4 times was WhatsApp. 2 was for Google Calendar because I was like, are we doing a fucking podcast on a Monday morning? And then,
sorry about that.
Yeah, no. So
my
there's just
fault.
not
Thank
at
you.
all. So that's what I like about it. So it's you scroll down on your screen time and it tells you how many times you picked up. So that might give you an idea of, right, I'm picking my phone up way too much. I need to put it in a different room or whatever it is. I remember last week I was saying I want to put the apps on an iPad. I'm still fighting with that idea. I'm going to delete LinkedIn off my phone. I'm going to delete Facebook because I don't use them. They're fine on the desktop. I can log in now and then. I just have to pay it all back because it's too distracting.
I agree with you. It's so hard. Judie, what have you got to teach us this week?
Well, I'm going to stick on the influencer idea and this idea of like micro nano influencers. But like, one of the big things that I do is I go into companies and I teach their teams how to make videos. And sometimes it's like a person who like is categorized as not creative, like the accountant. And like, I've always said, I think accountants are some of the most creative people, the way they can dress numbers up to make it into like a story that actually isn't true. So like, or is true. So, sometimes the accountant can be
those accountants.
they can be the best at this thing, but they just don't get like, they'll do the course, they'll love it, but then they're put back into their accountant box and like, okay, so leave it alone. So while I was kind of researching for this podcast, I came across like, Hootsuite for larger businesses. I'm sure you're familiar with it and some of you use it, but they have Hootsuite Amplify, which allows businesses to kind of admins on the Hootsuite to send emails to employees to ask them to share specific posts around specific times and around specific campaigns. And they can even send them stuff that are pre-approved, and then they can kind of put their spin on it. But you can define the parameters, and then because it is like, you can teach people, you can bring the horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And I think you need kind of these inbuilt structures to really help the business to kind of manage that process. So, Hootsuite is just one that I'm familiar with, the Amplify program, but there's loads of different ones. And just number one on this list is Post Beyond. And again, assisting with employee advocacy, which I think is a great way. Cause like, who knows how, like, say we add up our followers here, like, and there's a lot within a company around the conference room table. If you did add them up, it probably is a lot. And then you trust what they say because they actually work for the company and they're not going to post if they kind of hate it there, I don't think. So I think that's a great way, something to look into moving forward.
Marketing teams now are like fucking giving us more people to approve our shit now. Like,
sorry.
Jen?
So do you remember before I was talking about a spreadsheet I had with my post kind of data that I'd go back and have a conversation with it? So what used to always piss me off about it is never actually up to date, because if I did it on a Monday, then it would be, the data that had imported would have inevitably updated. So there's this tool called Data Fetcher, and I don't know if any of you have ever used a tool called Airtable. But Airtable is kind of like Google Sheets and kind of like Excel, only it's a little bit more intuitive. When you look at it first, you're like, God, no. But then when you go in, it's like, oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense. But you can use Data Fetcher to just auto import. Every hour it updates the spreadsheet with my information. And it has like, I have the transcripts running down the side of it as well. And then Airtable connects really nicely to ChatGPT. So I can now just like work with ChatGPT directly to like get everything I need from, so I don't bother looking at my Instagram insights anymore. I just have this automations like all set up. So I can just go into ChatGPT and be like, hey, my Airtable based on the data you're seeing in there at the moment, and look at the key hooks, the problem solution structure that I use for my videos. Write me a script based on this, and then I'll tweak it for myself afterwards, so that it's constantly like learning from the performance to do better, which is a nice, easy way of doing it. Because like from me and my end now, it's just have a conversation with AI but it's because there's like this little data fetcher set up in the background.
I've been waiting for this, Jen. Like, you know, like there's so many Excel sheets and stuff like that. And I know there are ways that you can download the insights and stuff like that, but this sounds actually streamlined and something that I'm like currently signing up to. So thank you.
How much, Jen?
There's actually a free version for this.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, you can run it for free, but it will only go, I think it'll do 100 runs. Yeah, so
but use my affiliate code for 25% off.
Hey, data fetcher, let me know what you need.
Data fetcher.
Or you could, like, if you want, like, I'm using the $12 subscription because I wanted running every 30 minutes and I want like completely up to date information, because now what I can do as well is that we're toying with opening up a package option for social media content for clients, but only in a really specific scenario where they will allow us to create the content. We want this to be where it all goes wrong is sometimes when they're like, but I actually just really love my logo here and I really want this to happen and this to happen. It's like, no, what we want to do for you is like reverse engineer what's working. But we could also do this data scraping, and this runs for other accounts that are similar in your industry, so that you have like the reverse engineer approach ready to go in the AI to have the conversation with. So there's lots of ways you can play with this, but yeah, ChatGPT slowly becoming more and more integrated with the way I work now that I have some of the data feeding into it, like with live runs.
That you need to,
really well. Yeah. Otherwise, there was no point when I was manually dumping. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, here's the export, here's the export, here's the export. Whereas now it's just like, oh, it's all tied up. It's perfect.
Class.
I just came to a realization because I just was looking at my notes. I write so many notes from these every week and do nothing with them, by the way.
Well, Shan, if you want, what I'll start doing is dropping the transcript of these into the Google Drive, and you can connect your Google Drive to ChatGPT and you can have a conversation with all of our podcast episodes.
Just do it. I do. I have to admit, ChatGPT becomes definitely, I have this conversation all the time. I was having a conversation last week with one of my clients and she's like, yes, but what if this happens and what if that happens? And I'm like, you just keep playing with it. If you've got the knowledge anyway, keep playing with it and change the questions and ask a different way. For me,
the argument is like, what if it happens?
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're not going to blow up the country, like.
Yeah. I think my biggest learning is get other people to do it for you. So in my bricks and mortar business in Elite, we do trust the staff. So when they arrive to work and when they leave work, that's how they clock in, is to put content up. So they keep the stories populated, which I think is really, really important. And user-generated content. You can't beat it. It's really authentic. It saves you time. Be aware of how much time it takes them, though. And it does work. People want to see that real review as such. And we didn't even touch on de-influencing. I mean, it is a thing now. And I think people that are good influencers, de-influence as well. And, otherwise,
in what sense? What de-influence being as they turn you against the product, is it? Or
no, they'd be honest about it. So, for instance, the other day, I was talking about mascaras, I think. I just got one mascara. It just is awful. It just lands down my cheek. I'm not going to recommend it. Like, I'm not going to go out my way to slag it off either, but I'm going to say this I wouldn't repurchase. It hasn't worked for me at all. So if it has worked for you, let me know.
Yeah. It's the wording though. You're intelligent. You use the right wording. But other ones would go awful.
De-influencing, it's all about delivery. All about delivery. Yeah.
100%.
It's all about it's being in PR, using the PR mind and going, okay, I don't want to burn bridges, but I want to let you know.
Yeah. Shit sandwich.
100%.
Yeah, nice little shit sandwich. Fabulous. Okay, listen, we're going to wind it up. Anything you want to leave, any advice you want to leave anybody with on influencers? Should they use them? Shouldn't they use them? And last tip, Jay.
If you do use influencers, you're using them for a reason. Give them the creative control. Don't smother them. Don't clutch them. Don't yes, I approve the brief, all that kind of stuff. Work it out with them, but let them be creative, because when we're constrained and we're creative people, we're constrained at that, we get annoyed very easily and we get pissed off and we just kind of just do it do it for the sake of doing it. Where if we have creative freedom, we're invested, we want to do it, we want the best product possible. So just give us the room to fly, guys.
Fly. Judie, any advice?
I'm going to have to consult with my fake husband before I answer this. No, nothing to pass on. Thank you.
Fabulous. And finally, Jen.
Do you know what? When an influencer posts and they put the little paid partnership tag on, always make sure you as a brand accept that, because on the influencer's end, they get the option to share their audience with you.
Yeah.
So if you want to boost the post and put a link with it and actually drive it as a paid advertising, then you can tap into targeting their audience. You can leverage the data from their account much more efficiently. And also do this if you possibly can. But when you ask an influencer to do a video for you, get them to sign something if you can at all to say that you can repurpose that video in your adverts afterwards. And then you've got user generated content that you can use on repeat.
Yeah. And that works both ways. Like I'm just about to do a campaign for somebody and I've given them permission to use my stuff until September. And after September, because I don't want old stuff out there either.
Yeah.
But if they wanted, they can relicense off you and pay you extra for it.
If it makes sense, because then it comes
100%.
September rolls around and you might be like, actually, that's still fine till Christmas.
Yeah.
But Jen touched something there, which I would highly recommend, is get everything in writing.
Oh,
and
100%.
Get a contract. Get a contract.
One of the
no
best
what,
things about passion fruit is that it does all that for you as well. Yeah.
Get a contract, no matter how big, no matter small.
Oh, it's really good, Shan. I'll send you, I think they gave me an invite link. I'll leave it with me. I'll ship it over to you.
You're on passion fruit as an influencer and then people can approach you, is it?
Yeah, and it's in my link in bio and stuff. Yeah.
Done. I'm on.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea. The other thing I'm going to quickly say to you guys as well is I had to do an affiliate with a company, and we were talking about what their margins were and what they could afford to discount. And then what we decided to do was it was quite a large discount actually, it's about 30%. So I was giving 15% to people that asked me, and the 15% then came to me. So it's an affiliate link. But so if you're, for instance, Judie, you mentioned earlier, you're giving us a discount code. That discount code should be of a benefit to you. So something like passion fruit would work really well for that as well, I think.
Cool.
Amazing. Thanks, guys. Speak to you all next week. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please share. Don't forget to hit the follow button, and we will see you very soon. Oh, and don't forget, on the 8th of Feb, the three of us are going to be on panel in Cork City at the Azure, who are our sponsors. We're going to be on that panel. So we'd love to see you. I know a few people have bought tickets already. If you use Pod 20, you get 20% off.
The link will be in the show notes.
Bye.